It's my phone. Okay. I'm on my phone. Want to go to my computer.
All right.
DJ BreathLEZZ in the building.
What's up, DJ? What's up, DJ? How are you?
Okay, so we are live on Facebook.
What
So,
up, world?
good afternoon, everyone, on this wonderful Saturday afternoon. We thank you for joining us. Thank you for, sharing your day with us. This is Joy of Body Integrity Fitness, and we are having our 9th COVID discussion today, and today's topic and subject matter is music during this pandemic. And I have today two wonderful panelists, two DJs, and we are going to discuss the impact of COVID on, people from a music standpoint. We're going to discuss how it is impacting them as far as being able to DJ. A couple of them, they've had residencies with clubs, they've had gigs lined up, and by us having to shut down and adhere to the social distancing rules, now, they had to rethink and restructure their plans and their goals as far as DJing. So we're going to dive into those different facets of music. But first and foremost, I do have to acknowledge the travesties that we have encountered, especially during this week but over the last couple of weeks, with the death of Breonna Taylor, of Ahmaud Arbery, and now of
Floyd.
George Floyd, right? Did I say it right? Okay. And so
Yeah.
I just, I am again down the middle because I am with the people, I am with the people who are rioting and tearing stuff up. I understand their heart, because how many times do we as a people have to ask and beg you for our lives, for our very lives, in basic situations that with other cultures, ethnicities, and races end up where you just take someone into custody, and for us, we end up going to the grave every single solitary time. But on the same hand, I don't necessarily approve of the actions, because we have to be a little bit so that we are impactful, and that because right now you have these hate groups that are infiltrating us, and they are the ones who are actually out there being more violent than we are. I have said it for many months that we are really a people who are, we're gentle, we're lovers, really, by nature. All we want to do is love our family, our friends. We want to have fun. We want harmony. We want peace. And we really don't like to take up arms. But when we do, we do. And I've also said many times that, when we get tired, which is what a lot of this institutionalized racism is based upon, and it is a fear that we will one day wake up and come together and do to those powers that be what they have done to us for so many years. And that is the greatest fear. And now your fear may be realized, because this was a senseless act. And I know many police officers, some of whom are dear friends, and I know that not all officers are like this, but not enough of you all are standing up and doing what is right in these situations. You're not de-escalating the situation. And so because of that, we have to hold you in the same manner of responsibility as the person who committed the act. I mean, you send people to jail for association. I mean, if someone was there and someone robbed the bank because they were in a car, regardless if they knew what the intent was or not, you're giving them time too. There are people in jail for that very reason. And so we have to hold you accountable to the same measure and the same law. And it's just, this is a devastating time because it super compounds what we're already dealing with in regards to this pandemic. And now you're out here, you're consistently murdering us. And, you know, we all know the adage of a bully, you know, the bully is not going to stop until you stand up to it. And so, and that's the very thing that you all fear. But that's the very thing that's transpiring before your eyes. Learn when enough is enough. So that I just had to pay homage and tribute to those three individuals because it affects me. I don't know any of them personally. I don't know anything about their lives. I don't know anything about their criminal history or non-existent, but they look like me, and it could very well be me. It could be my brother. It could be my panelists. It can be anybody in our families. And enough is enough, you know. For the impact of music on our psyches during this pandemic, we want to know how, you know, I love music. I'm a connoisseur of music, and I have so much music, and I listen to so many different genres of music. I think music is beautiful, and you can, I'm sorry, music is beautiful, and it, you know, it resonates with me on so many different levels. Like I see the organized to how the sound is put together, you know, and then to just think about the minds of the composers, like what are they hearing? Like I often really want to talk with some of these artists to see what do they hear in their mind, or what is it that they see where they hear music. It's a visceral part of them, and it's evident in their music. And so for me, music takes me on an emotional roller coaster. I mean, there's so many textures and breakdowns, and just, you know, it sparks so many different emotions. And, you know, I've heard music to me that was so beautiful that it brought tears to my eyes because just thinking of all those components. So I am a lover of music. Music does, for me, helps control my tone, my mood. It helps with my mood. And I think that it is a universal mood adjuster for many. We know that in the psychological world, or in the medical world, that music can be and has been used as a therapy to help people deal with traumas, to help them come out of comas, help them for just healing of just basic ailments that they may experience. And so I felt that it was important to explore music in the component with DJs, because they too are artists. They too hear music in their ears because they hear how one song might sound so good blended together with another song to evoke, you know, a story, because music does also tell a story. And so my panelists today are Darineus, DJ DROB Robinson, and Tonia, DJ BreathLEZZ Turner. And I'm going to give them space to, you know, tell about themselves, tell about how, you know, how they got into music, you know, and just give like a basic history of yourself. So I'm going to start with ladies first. And so I'm going to have Tonia come in and give her her history of music and what kind of brought her to DJing.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. Good afternoon, DJ DROB.
Hey, Tom.
Thank you all. Again, my name is Tonia Turner, and by trade, I'm an educator. I fell in love with music as a child. It was when we would clean up on Sundays as a family. We would play the music. It would run throughout the house, and we would play all kinds of music throughout the house. I love the way music made my dad feel when he heard it. It just brought an instant type of joy across his face. And to see that, it made me feel so connected to music because I always wanted to make him proud. I always wanted to make him happy. And so whenever I would listen to music, it would certain songs, I'm like, Dad, you gotta listen to this. And so that was our connection. We would listen to music. As a result, I've always loved music. Just anytime someone says anything to me, I would always respond with a quote from a song or anything along those lines. I had a friend always tell me, where did you get that song from? No one listens to that side of the song, especially when we had tapes and we had records and things of that nature. So it would always be a B-side. And so my friends would be like, what's that song? And I'm like, listen to it, shut up, just listen to it, it's dope. I can recall being in 3rd grade and I had my little Barbie record player and I got invited to a sleepover. I was so excited to go over there and I played Luther Vandross, Since I Lost My Baby. And we just listened to that song forever and ever and ever. We figured out the words to that song. We felt like we were everything. But in my mind, none of this ever said to me, hey, you're going to be a DJ. I just had a love and I just had a love for music. And so as a result, I'm listening to music, living my life. As you said, music has been a healing for me. You know, whenever I'm happy, it's a whole mood. Whatever mood I was in, that's what the music will reflect for me. And as a result, I mean, just listening to music, I can recall sitting in my dorms, listening to music with my friends for hours on end. This was fun for me. Maybe they didn't enjoy it, maybe they did, but this was my life. Again, nothing about that said DJ. As I'm journeying on in life, I moved overseas. And when I moved overseas, I'm again listening to music because that was my company. I was lonely. I didn't really have family and friends over there. I was building family, I was building friends, but at the end of the day, music was my comfort. As a result, I would go out to many different places and I noticed that there were DJs there at these facilities or places that I would go, and I never saw any representation for women of color. Being a huge proponent of Black people and especially people from Chicago, I talked to a couple of people and said, hey, I want to do this. And they were like, what? I'm like, yeah, I want to do it. And so I went to Bali. I came back from Bali and the guy was like, hey, you can play at this brunch. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know how. But he coached me through it. He walked me through it and got me comfortable with doing so. I can recall calling, buying my equipment and just kind of fiddling my way around and figuring things out. I called Barry, DJ B-side, like, hey, Barry, I want to DJ. He was like, oh, okay, that's cute, that's cool. He kind of blew me off, like, you know, because you hear so many people telling you this is something that I want to do. But then when I started telling him about the equipment that I purchased, he's like, wait, you want to DJ? And so I kept staying committed to it, kept staying focused to it. I got gigs over there, got booked at many different places, brunches, things of that nature. Came back to the States and kind of wowed a lot of my friends with like, are you serious? Like, yeah, this is something I want to do. And came to Chicago, got quite a few gigs and things of that nature. And it leads me to today where we got caught up in this COVID thing and it stopped. I had a residency over at, y'all forgive me because my mind is kind of all over the place. I had a residency over at the Vault out in the south suburbs, but I would always pick up gigs in many different places. House music is obviously my favorite genre because it again, it goes so many different places. You can take songs from any genre and make it become house based off of the the music that you attach to it. So it's kind of like a mashup type of situation that makes music become house. And you know, that's where I am today.
All right, thank you. All right, come on, DJ.
Yeah. So, like Tanya, great job. Music, I mean, that's my furthest memory back. I always remember music. Music starts at home from, a baby. We've heard music forever. And that's one of the things that I really love about music is, it could be like a time machine. You listen to music from your childhood, you feel like that again. You know what I mean? It's a powerful thing
Absolutely.
that you can do as a DJ. And so that's really just where it started. And my father, we didn't have a sports home. We had more of a music home. So I wasn't encouraged to play sports. I was encouraged to pick up a trumpet and learn how to play that. So kind of classically taught. And then I became a part of what's called a drum and bugle corps. It's kind of like a marching band. I did that in 7th grade. And so again, we were led in the direction of music in my household from the beginning. But where I fell in love with DJing is right around 7th grade. I had a friend named, and still have a friend, he's still here, Marvin Gladney. And we went to Kenwood. We were preppies. We went there for 7th through 12th. And so I go over to his house. I was just, I rode my bike over there with another friend. I can't even remember who was with me at the time. But we got to Marvin's house thinking it was just going to be a regular day. We're going to see where Marvin lived, maybe hang out in the back. I don't know what we're going to do at Marvin's house. We're in 7th grade, but we going over his house. Get over there. He's like, come down to the basement. So I go down to the basement. And before I tell you this, let me tell you what was going on. And BMX was real hot then. So the Hot Mix 5 was super hot. And everybody couldn't wait for Saturday,
Friday night, Saturday night mixes.
Right. You got to get your tape ready, Tone Master or Maxell if you got that, something, if you got that $3.99 instead of that $1.99, right? So BMX was hot, so everybody was on it. So I go down into his basement, and this dude had 2 turntables and a mixer, and he started playing some music. I'm like, stop. I'm like, what? I never saw 2 turntables and a mixer before. Just never saw it. Never knew what they were doing on BMX. And when I saw that and he was playing it, I was like, are you kidding me? I'm like, you got that stuff in your house? He's like, yeah, this is where we mix. And that was it. I was like, dude, I watched him for a while, but then the next time I came over, he was like, check it out. This is what you do. And he taught me how to DJ. And that, that changed everything right there in 7th grade. So, yeah, that changed everything. So, from 7th grade to about maybe junior year of high school, we were going really hard at DJing. And right about that time, hip hop was starting to come in.
Make it.
Yeah. So some of the same people that I used to DJ with back then, like Twilight Tone, who was Common's DJ, Twilight Tone, No ID, and Rashid, they were all Common. They were all DJs. We were all in the same circle. They were in just one circle away from me. We intermingled. They went the way of hip hop. So when house kind of took its hiatus, that's when I got lost in the sauce because I did not go hip hop. I went down to SIU and tried to live a normal, life and get a regular job, and be something that, that I'm supposed to be, right? Go to school, get an education, and get a good job. And so there were. Y'all there?
Okay.
Y'all there?
Yeah.
Am I back?
Yeah.
I'm back. All right, cool. Yeah. So there was 20 plus years.
You're back.
Yeah, thank you. I see y'all. Yeah, it kicked me out. I was like, oh, really? So it was about 25 years where I didn't DJ at all. I mean, I didn't have any records, nothing, which was amazing coming from where I came from. I couldn't locate one piece of equipment from back in the day. And so I got back in about 7 or 8 years ago, and kind of haven't looked back since. This pandemic, I always knew that we would have like this capability right here and that DJs would be able to DJ virtually, but I envisioned it more like we would DJ from a location, but it could be seen in a party in Spain, a party in Japan, you know, and I thought that we would be doing it like that. But I thought it was, while we could do it now, I thought it was further away until boom, you know, February, like, oh, it's showtime. Like the DJs, like we're not going outside, got a captive audience, and the DJs are going live now. So it's like, now we're transmitting all over the world in a much, much, much shorter time frame than I would have ever thought. I thought, you know, you two know I have a transportation company and have been running that for years. So that took all of my time. So DJing was kind of on the back burner, even though I would do it every now and then. And a couple life situations really slowed me down. But here we are during the pandemic, and you know, it feels to me like the DJs are just front and center delivering to people who don't have an outlet.
Yeah. So for me, my dad used to, like every Saturday and Sunday, he would get up and he would just sit by the our record player, and he would have like 30 albums that he would have in his hand that he had already picked out. You know, he had picked out his song list, so to speak. So he would have like 30 albums in his hand, and he would carefully clean off every album and load them onto the turntable. And, you know, sometimes he had to put that quarter up on the needle so that it wouldn't skip. But, you know, so that's, for me, that's where I got my love for jazz, because for me, it was the Ronnie Laws, the John Coltrane, the Roy Ayers. Those are the, you know, the Isley Brothers. That's who I grew up on. And in general, my entire family, both on my mom's side and my dad's side, just music. My dad and my uncle are both self-taught organists and pianists. And so they both knew how to play those instruments, and they played them well as if they had been classically taught. And so, you know, music was just a way of life for us, especially on Saturday mornings. Like, similar to Tonia, Saturday was our cleanup day, and Sunday was like our rest day, but it was still a rest with music. So we didn't watch a lot of television. I didn't watch a lot of television growing up. Now, we did have a couple of shows that we kind of watched, but censoring what we watched. So a lot of, like, I didn't grow up with what's happening in Mod and, you know, some of those other TV shows that people are very familiar with. Like, I knew of them, but to say I watched those episodes every, you know, week, however they came on, weekday or Saturday, I didn't, because my parents censored what I watched. And so for me, I guess I then really delved into music. And so growing up, I would hear music and I would memorize it in the terms of knowing what it sound like and knowing different breakdowns and where certain elements of the music, where it would change, the different textures of it. And so, and I would also memorize the album, so that when my parents or my uncle wasn't around, if I wanted to hear that song, I would look for that particular album cover. And as you said, Darineus, when I hear some of that music now, it catapults me back to a time that was just good, because that music for me, it was at a time of feel good, and it was a good, you know, a good feeling, a good mood, a good spirit throughout the house with just that music. And so my entire family, we love music. But I am probably the more eclectic of everybody on both sides when it comes to music, because I really ventured off into a lot of instrumental music, what they term as new age now. So I had music, and I was listening to music before it was popular, like some of the like Art of Noise, Enigma. I was listening to that when I was 12, 11, 12, 13.
Mm-hmm.
That's the music that I was buying. I wasn't buying like the R&B stuff. I, for me, that wasn't it for me. And so I was listening to a lot of some of the English artists. I was listening to some like Huey Lewis and the News, the Cars, Tears for Fears, the Bangles. That's who I was listening to, along with other instrumental type music. And so I did have some what we would deem as Black music that I love too, but my love for music was expanded beyond just what we know. The whole genre. I was like at a very young age, and so for me, music was just therapeutic, and as Tonia said, it was the mood. When I was sad, I had music to help encourage me. If I was mad, I had music to maybe fuel what I was feeling, but then also calm me down. I had music to just feel good, and I could hear certain tones of music that I wanted to hear, that resonated within me, that I wanted to hear. And so that would lead me to different genres of music. But house music has always been like my number one, hands down favorite genre of music, because it just, when you just, I guess it's just the engineering and the composition of it to the can shift into a whole different element that just takes you in so deep, and it resonates with your spirit. And I found that house music has been some of the most spiritualist music out here, that really you can dance to it, but it can speak to your spirit at the same time, and really kind of encourage you on a spiritual level, and you not even know it while you going home just feeling so good and so powerful and so energized. And so what genre outside of house music, what genre of music really spoke to either of you? And the floor is open to whoever wants to answer first.
No time. All right. So, wow, like you, I listen to a lot of different music. Like there's stuff that I listen to that I would just never DJ. House music is my favorite genre to DJ because of the blending that you talked about, hearing two songs and putting them together. But outside of that, I really can't tell you what genre. I mean, I listen to jazz, I listen to rock, I listen to all type of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say that. I just listen. I like sounds. I like music, So each genre has a sound or a flavor, and it depends on how I feel that day,
Yeah.
So I don't have one necessarily that I go to. I go to them all. And with driving clients, they play different music. So I hear music all day, every day. And so I try to be as well-rounded as I can.
Okay.
So for me, my go-to music is rhythm and blues and or gospel. Obviously, they are very closely related. And the reason I have a song to sing, I have something to say in those words, most of the music. And I mean, I can't really speak of the music today, but when I think of the lyrics of Greatest Love of All, songwriter said, I have a song to sing. Those words I connect with on many levels that I will never be able to connect with any other genre of music. Now, do I enjoy many of those genres? Absolutely. But those two rhythm and blues and gospel are my top two favorite. Those are the ones that I can hear a song. I mean, I can just hear the intro of the song and instantly feel certain gratification. Or, I mean, like I said, music is a mood, and those particular songs, they will grab my mood, put me in a mood, take me out of a mood, and give me everything that I need. So when I think of rhythm and blues, the rhythm and blues and gospel, those two are like my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, for me, I'm kind of I guess the one music that I gravitate the most to is instrumental music, because it I guess some of the tones that are played in that, and the way that they are set, they really calm my spirit. I apologize for all the background noise, guys. They just really calm my spirit, and they allow me to, it's like it expands my brain, so to speak. And I get many ideas and many thoughts, or all of that comes from me just sitting and listening to music. And so I guess I want to kind of explore, like, because we've heard in the past that, them talking about hip hop when it exploded on the scene and rap, how they wanted to place the blame on the music for the action of the youth. And again, while I don't agree with placing the blame on the music, because some adults should have been exercising some type of censorship with the kids, because I don't think all music is for all ears. But and I do realize that some kids don't have that, and so they're just exposed. But how do you see the impact of music on people's mood?
You broke up with your question. I didn't hear the end of it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Thank you. What I was asking was, how do you, the impact of music, how do you view it as far as what impact it has on people and their actions? Like, how do you feel about that?
So I'll speak to that. When I think about, I mean, I feel like you're referencing music such as Ice Cube, music such as NWA, and things of that nature. Again, I connected with that group or those groups because they spoke for the people who didn't have a voice. When it comes down to it, and people are, I mean, you can compare what's happening to today, and you can say that, oh, they're inciting riots, they're making people angry, they're making people upset. No, they're speaking for people who didn't have the words to say. They're saying things that we needed to have said. I mean, as a Black person who may have gone to college and obtained certain amount of wealth and live in certain community, it's not fair that you pull me over every day because there's something out of the ordinary, or and that will make me mad. So when he says fuck the police, pardon my language, when he says fuck the police, at the end of the day, I do understand where he's coming from, and I do, and so a person will connect with that, and it's not a matter of causing violence versus someone saying, when you're looting, we're going to start shooting. That's a whole different manner of violence that you're sitting and putting in place. Thinking about music and how it's impacting people as they're dealing with COVID. There are a lot of people who are afraid of what's going on. Music helped calm their soul. Prior to the things that are happening today or this past weekend. So when you think about it causing a mood, at the end of the day, people are going to do exactly what they want to do. When you hear people looting, when you hear people tearing things up, what I'm hearing people not saying is I'm hurt. When I'm hearing people saying is I'm tired. What I'm hearing people saying is I need help. And the only way that you're going to listen to me is if I behave in this way. Because when I nailed at a football game, you felt it was un-American and you want to fire me. When we on the bridge as a collective body saying we shall overcome. Yeah, okay, we figured out ways to help you overcome, at least put it in your face in a manner to make you feel that way. So when we're playing music that's in 1960 who, 1960 what, the Murder City is burning, we're not saying go burn up the Motor City. What we're saying, what we're seeing. What we're saying is what people can't say. What we're saying is what we're feeling. So I don't, in my opinion, music is not causing all of this violence. Now, on the flip, I do say there should, I mean, the censorship should be in a manner of when you have a child and you're speaking to them, because how do you explain to a 6-year-old who I'm teaching, the same Miss Turner, why don't the police like Black people? But he's hearing fuck the police. As an adult, it's my responsibility, because you can't hide these things from these kids. They're seeing this every day and this is real to them. They're afraid of it. So you have to be able to craft ways to have conversations to help them feel a level of comfort, a level of safetyness, a level of protection, and a level of hope. Because when you take the music away, we lose it.
Yes. Yes. Okay, Darineus, you want to comment on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So, I forgot who said this, but cocaine is a hell of a drug and music is a very powerful medium. Music is powerful. Um,
Rick
go,
James, baby.
yeah, right. Rick James. Right. I think I heard it from Dave Chappelle though, on Rick James. But yeah, I don't know if it's art imitating life or life imitating art. We can go back and forth on that, but I do know that music is very powerful. So it can heal, and if it can heal, I also believe it can destroy. And there's just a fine line, in between. I don't know, like back to NWA and I don't know their intent really for making the music. I don't know if they were speaking for the streets or what, or if they were just trying to get famous or what. We don't know the intent, but I think that when music is made, there's an intent behind it. And again, I go back to it can heal or it can destroy. I mean, scientifically, they've proven that, right? Mm-hmm. There's also conspiracy theories that say that that the music was weaponized back at that time, and when they weaponized it, while its intent was to be uplifting, a weapon can be turned on you. So if that's true, then they found that they could influence the youth through music and send them in a certain negative direction. So I'm kind of up in the air on it. I know the power of music.
I just want to respond to your response. I'm going to sit and say that Ice Cube, Eazy-E, and many of those people in that group, they walk the same ghettos that I did. I'm not sure what your upbringing, your background is, but that being said, I think that they thought their music was their ticket out the ghetto. And then when they got an opportunity to get out, they were still being treated among the others or the rest. Because the thing of it is, we have this thing in our culture where we want to distinguish ourselves from the people that we consider to be quote unquote low lives. And so the thing of it is, what we don't recognize is that no matter who you are, where you are, they still see us in the same light as people of color. And it's not a good light. And so when I hear people saying that there are some good white people and there are some good cops, I'm taken to the same position and hearing, I'm taken to the same position, the same process, saying that at the end of the day, if these same white people and these same cops were having these conversations, we wouldn't be in the positions that we are today. So I don't believe that initially, sure, when we have talents, when we have music, oh my goodness, I'm going to get rich and my life is going to change. We as a people, we as a culture tend to think that money is going to resolve all ill wills of our worlds. But at the end of the day, they start recognizing that, hey, I'm this famous rap group. Hey, I'm XYZ, but I'm still being treated in a certain manner and I'm still being treated in a certain capacity. So that being said, their rebelliousness was not necessarily for winning money, but it was more of we're tired of this. The same things that we're seeing when people are burning up their own communities and everybody's frustrated. Why would you do that? Because how do you rebuild the community and things of that nature? When it's over and said and done with, we are tired. Now, did they take this and say, hey, we're going to use this as a way of making money? Absolutely. But the president of the United States tried to bar their First Amendment rights because they were speaking along the lines of unifying people. They were bringing people together. I mean, this was in the midst of the Watts riots when these songs came out. So at the end of the day, the money that people are seeing in terms of music, NWA probably didn't see it. They didn't own the masters. They didn't own any of those particular things. I think that, and that's just my personal opinion, I think that when they said fuck the police, it wasn't for the hype or the shock value or anything of those natures. They meant that because they're sitting here saying, I am just a Black man riding in my car going to work. What are you pulling me over for?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I, even, so I get both sides of the coin, right? That's just me. I get both sides. I mostly get both sides of the coin of most issues, but I'm a little bit more passionate about some than others. And for me, music, music hype you up. Music is a mood changer. It can pump you up and hype you up to go do, whatever. And it can calm you down and have you go take a nap, right? And so I think that I agree in that it's a way of expression. Even some of today's rappers, which I don't care for a lot of their rap. Not a lot of them. I don't care for a lot of it. Some of it I listen to, what they call the ratchet stuff. Some of it I listen to it, and sometimes I don't. But it's just a matter of of being able to govern yourself based off of your emotion and whatever the emotion that the music is inciting in you at that moment. As I mentioned, they use music for therapies, especially for people who are experiencing traumatic therapies. They use music to help people talk again, to help them come to a point of being able to admit that a trauma even happened to them. And for me, what I've seen, like even during this COVID, as Tonia mentioned, is that music has been able to calm people's spirit. So what's the guy name who kicked it off? Yes. So DJ D-Nice really kicked this thing off.
Didn't he?
He kicked it off because it was a way to help people calm down in their homes. It brought peace in their homes. It brought a level of joy and happiness in their homes. And so then we see, Vince Adams, we see Farley, we saw Gene Hunt, and we see Terry Hunter, and we see you, and we see Tanya, and we see Joe, and we see Eddie, and we see Barry. We see all of the DJs begin to come in and really recognize that, okay, even though they kind of lost money on the back end because maybe gigs that they had lined up had to be canceled, this is another way to reach your audience and other audiences, and bringing about a peace and a joy and some sense of normalcy, I think, that music brought especially during this COVID environment where people have had to be contained in their home for months now. And so I just I want to make sure. Are we still live on Facebook?
We are live on Facebook.
Okay.
I have it pulled up, so I see it.
Okay, good, because my phone is doing something funky. So, okay, thank you for that. But I just think that you know, for during this COVID environment, that music has really been a saving grace for many people during this time. And so I wanted to kind of talk about what kind of responses have you received from people as a result of you going on live and DJing for the people during this time? Like, what type of testimonies have you gotten?
Yeah, I mean, I every time I go live, you know, there are comments in the comment section. I'll get inboxes, and all of it's been positive. They're just saying that, you know, hey brother, you helping me get through this. You know, some people get outside, you know, quite often, and then there's some people that are just really locked down. You know, it gets, you know, just different people. So none of us have really been inside for this long a time. This is crazy, right? And so people, you know, not only am I getting a positive response from them, but I'm grateful to everybody that comes to my live performance, you know, that checks in, because it's my outlet. You know, I don't get to see you. I don't get to see you all out in public, you know, anymore. Like, you know, when I wanted to go in the public, we could run to the club, we could run the family den or something like that, but we're not getting that. So for me, DJing, again, it's therapeutic for me to be able to talk and share, and then they give it back. So it's two ways. You know, it's therapeutic for everyone, the DJ and the patrons.
Okay. Has your family like does your family, or have they asked you during this just play for them, or make them song lists, or, you know, what has your family done for, you know, or asked of you during this time, knowing that you have this gift to?
So are we talking about immediate? Well, I'll speak to the immediate. I got two younger kids here, 12 and 14. So they're kind of middle-aged kids, right? Well, they've started to want to DJ themselves. So they go onto my set, and I've shown, you know, them how to do it. And I've gotten playlists for them that they can choose from this group of music right here, the clean versions of clean trap, right? And they can play from that list there. So they don't put it on. They want to do it themselves. They see me DJing, they want to do it themselves. They don't want me to do it for them. They okay with that. You know, that dad has his music and we need ours. So they don't ask me to play for them. But now my extended family, like my sister in Arizona, she was one of the main ones to have me go live, because I'd be sitting at home on a Friday and I'm like, I'm not going live. And I get a call. She's like, what you doing, man? You going live? I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess so. If you gonna listen, you know, right. So yeah. So my kids don't ask me to do playlists, but my other family members do encourage me to play. But I just do it live. Yeah. Okay. And so everybody gets to participate.
Have you gained new followers as a result of the COVID, or going live a little bit more often than you normally would?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, the answer is yes. I just can't tell you. I'm kind of at a loss for words at how it actually works out in real time. In the beginning, when I was going live, I knew exactly who was on there, you know, because it was just friends and family. Now I'm seeing people from anywhere anywhere on my live. And you know,
Nice.
after I stream, I go into the comments, and then I also can see how many views there are and how many shares there are, how many
Mhm.
people shared it. The amount of shares have gone up, but to your point, the people who are sharing them, I don't know. I don't know them.
Nice.
And then also the other thing that's an indicator of am I getting new people is the amount of friend requests that I get after. Again, the friend requests are people I don't know. And I know the volume of friend requests that I usually get, but I could tell you as soon as I'm done live, you know, there's more. And I don't know them, which means they saw me live and then they hit add friend because they're there right at the end. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So Tonia, the question was about during the COVID, this COVID, um, how has your family, outside of you going and doing lives, has your family asked you to do something special for them and go on lives or create playlists or, you know, and then how's your following increase as a result of you going live? Unmute yourself. Okay, there you go.
As a result of this COVID, I honestly, one, I guess being a woman and being very passionate about what's happening in the world, I've really been kind of trying to process a lot of this. So I may have had one or two lives because I don't want this to come off. I mean, again, I have been blessed in the middle of this famine. I mean, well, some people will call this COVID season, if you will. And so, as I said, I'm an educator by trade. So I do have bread and butter on my table by another profession. And I didn't want to come off um, as if this is my main source of income, and I didn't want to misconstrue. Ultimately, when I play for people, I do play for their enjoyment. And so that being said, I did have one major party. I have had lots of more friends and more followers as a result of it, because I've had people to inbox me, hey, when you're going live, hey, when you're going live. And the thing of it is, it wasn't a matter of me not wanting to go live, more so than I wanted those who needed to go live to have that opportunity, to have that platform, those who this is their only source of income, to go ahead and have that platform. But you know, so I have, my numbers have gotten larger. However, I want to say it's because of one particular live that I did.
Okay. Okay. You know, because we were, you know, as I was stating while you were away for a moment, you know, music is I think it's been a saving grace for a lot of people, especially during this environment. And I think that, you know, from the lives that I've seen where people have been a financial blessing to the DJs, I think it was out of they were just so happy to have some sense of normalcy that they they just wanted to be a blessing, because the music was being a blessing to them in an environment where they literally thought that they were going to lose their mind, and that they were at their wits' end. And you know, the stress and the anxiety, you know, as we've talked, if you've um, followed any of our discussions from the beginning, you know, we explored the increased stress and anxiety that and depression that people are feeling right now as a result of this pandemic. And so I think music was another necessary, has been another necessary added component of helping people to cope during this time, um, because I know what music does for me. And even as it comes to the fitness aspect of it during this COVID, the music has inspired people or encouraged them to work out or stick with the workout. I know, like when you are designing a group fitness class. Selection of the right music is important because it carries your class. It sets the tone and provides the other half of the energy that you need to make your class a great class. That energy, certain tones and certain breakdowns, and where the music increases and decreases, that is the difference of somebody being able to push themselves past. So I think music is everything. And I think I can't remember who brought it up. I think it was Tonia about music being militarized. I mean, it absolutely has. We have seen on TV shows, but we know that it where the military has used music to hypnotize or trigger a person to do or act in a certain manner. Absolutely, music is a very powerful tool. I mean, biblically, that's why we got Satan, because he was music, right? And he set the tone in heaven and then got beside himself, you know. And so I think music is amazing. It's an amazing tool. It's an amazing tool for so many different areas and facets in our lives. I have one last question for the two of you in terms of music and when you're DJing and you're selecting songs. Is it a certain tone that you're hearing when you're selecting songs, or is it the story that you're trying to tell with song selection, or is it a combination?
You want to go first on that time?
Sure. For me, it's definitely a combination. It depends on the crowd that I'm playing for. It depends on their level. Because I mean, again, when you think about house music, there's levels to the music. You have a certain particular crowd who enjoys listening to the classics, and that's just where they're stuck. They won't go any further or anything beyond that because they like music. The classics may be nostalgic for them. The classics may be, something that they're familiar with. It's a number of things as to why people like classics. So when I'm thinking of that, I won't necessarily get into a story more so than I'm trying to give you a feeling. Ultimately, again, when it's over and said and done with, I do want my music to have a feeling. But when I'm in my room and I'm playing music, as I do many days, I'll get up in the morning. I'll just run tunes. When I go to bed, I'll just run tunes. Again, it depends upon what I'm trying to convey. So if I want to send a message, like, today I'm feeling a message of joy, of hope and peace. And, the music that will give me that, I will put every song that I can off in that particular mix. So again, it's very dependent, but it's a combination of all.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely a combination yeah, like well, for me, sometimes when I'm blending two songs together, I am trying to listen to how they would interact, the tones, right? But then sometimes it's all about energy. So if the dance floor, if people aren't dancing, maybe now is not the time for me to tell a story. How about I just throw on some slides and make y'all get up, because I know the energy that the slides bring, and I'm just not that the slides are the end all. I'm just saying to try to paint a picture of how energy works. So sometimes I'm trying to make it sound really melodic. Sometimes I'm trying to inject energy or suppress energy, right? Or bring you down, let you rest for a minute. So sometimes I'm playing with energy. And then there's a time for storytelling. I do gospel house music on Sundays at noon, little shameless plug right there, right?
Yeah.
Every Sunday at
No
noon.
shameless.
That, but but you know, with Gospel House, I am trying to tell a story, and I am looking to raise the vibration, just raise. You know,
Mhm.
there is no dance floor. I'm trying to give praise. So
Yes.
it's a combination of stuff. Sometimes we're doing different things as DJs.
Cool. So I want to thank both of you guys for your time on this Sunday, for just pouring into the people, helping them get an insight of DJs and how they view music, and how they came into their crafts. Um, I hope that this has blessed people. I hope that you share and like this. Um, if the people want to contact you, how should they contact you, Tonia?
You can find me on Facebook as DJ BreathLEZZ, DJ BreathLEZZ. You can find me on Twitch, which is my latest platform, given the parameters that are put around going on Facebook Live. So you can find me on Twitch at DJ BreathLEZZ. And you can find me on Instagram as DJ BreathLEZZ as well. So if you want to find me on those platforms, I'm there. You might catch me one day. I'm up in the morning, boom, you got a mix. So I don't really plan a lot of it. I do it just how I feel. Because like I said, I'm a woman and I'm emotional. I'm a woman, hear me roar. She J's rule.
All right, Darineus, if the people want to
Oh,
find you.
yeah, they can find me on my page, Darineus Robinson, Darineus, right on Facebook. And then I'm also on Twitch. Haven't performed on Twitch yet, but I do have my page over there. Looking for followers, by the way. And so on Twitch, I'm just DJ DROB.
Okay. All right. So there you have it. I just, again, I appreciate everyone. I appreciate your time. We will be here next week, and next week, in the next upcoming weeks, we're gonna really hit on some more serious and pressing topics. So we're gonna talk about education on next week, and so you'll see Miss DJ BreathLEZZ over here next week, but she'll be on as Tonia Turner, the educator. And so I invite you to join in with us on next week, and at the same bad time at 3:30 p.m. And again, thank you both to my panelists. You guys did an amazing job, and
Thank
I
you.
hope that you enjoy the rest of your afternoon and weekend. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. Good talking with you, Rob.
All right, thank you.
Good
All
seeing
right, yep. See you, BreathLEZZ.
you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Joy. Yep. Bye bye.